everyone, welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Devan. Just as the CJP protest has settled, a new digital community is now awakening, which is protesting the ethanol blended fuel policy and is gathering a lot of steam on social media. The rare Gen Z mobilization during the CJP protest seems to have set a precedent. And as we are speaking, multiple pages by the name of E20 Janata Party have been created, and the most popular one has over 3 lakh followers. This new page in its bio claims to be an independent citizens movement focused on raising issues that affect the common people. They say their only agenda is to ensure transparency, protect consumer rights and encourage an open discussion on the real impact of India's E20 policy. Well, joining me on the broadcast is one such voice that has been very vocal about the E20 policy. I'm talking about Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst and activist with us on the broadcast. Tehseen, welcome to NewsX. Like I said, one of the most vocal voices on social media as far as the E20 policy is concerned. So let me have a clear conversation with you, Tehseen, and give you this platform to raise your concerns. I'd like to begin by asking you, with recent parliamentary disclosures revealing that the government has not officially tracked how many of our old legacy vehicles are fully E20 compliant, do you believe that this rapid nationwide rollout that has been passed now has essentially bypassed crucial consumer safeguards?
Yes, thank you so much for having me on the show. Good evening. And that is exactly what the ARAI and CM report said. I'll come straight to the point. They asked this rollout to happen in 2030 because by then the pre-2023 vehicles, which are E10 compliant, would phase out. Now, let me ask a very simple question. These are about 80 to 90% of vehicles currently on the road that are E10 compliant. Now, let me ask a very simple question. Shri Hardeep Puri ji says that E10 vehicles can take E20 petrol. If that was the case, why do the instruction manuals of the same vehicle say you cannot take more than E10 petrol? Number one, were they lying then or are they lying now? Number two, why did the same companies upgrade their vehicles right now? So you see, this is one aspect, but let me give you a second aspect. You see, what do these car companies or bike companies say? They say that it's adulterated fuel because the waters got mixed. Now, part of what the ARAI and CM report said is the reason it wanted ethanol 20 policy to come in 2013 is we have about 1 lakh retail outlets, that's petrol pumps. They don't have the storage which is required for ethanol. You know, ethanol attracts moisture and water. The current storage which is there, which is for old petrol or petrol before below 19, that is today now being corroded. That's why areas that have a lot of rain, you're seeing adulterated petrol. That is the problem that has caused this widespread issue to begin with.
Okay.
And of course, the government is misleading.
Yes, but Tehseen, the government is insisting that all of these claims of widespread engine damage are exaggerated, and they're saying that they're all older vehicles. Some of those claims are now coming out of the government, but is it time for us to have some sort of an independent lab-tested data to really prove otherwise beyond social media anecdotes and some of the videos that we've now seen on social media of consumers?
No, social media anecdotes is not what's required. You require scientific evidence. Scientific evidence exists in the form of the ARAI report, CM report, etc. Tell me something. Why can't these reports be made public so you can access these reports? NewsX can access this report. I can access this report. All the experts can access it, and it be put in public domain. If E20 blending policy is good for us, why is the report secretive? It should be public. But let me tell you one more thing. When they say that vehicles will suddenly fall down and break, it doesn't work like that. So let me give you an example. Let's say that the doctor tells you you're not supposed to consume alcohol and nobody should drink, but you drink a glass of wine every day or a peg of whiskey every day. Now, slowly you increase it to 2 pegs. You slowly have a bottle of whiskey every day. You slowly have 2 bottles of whiskey every day. Day one, you're not going to get liver cirrhosis. Eventually, your body will start faltering. That's the same with vehicles. What will happen is the vehicle durability to 15 years is reducing to 10 years, 9 years. With the scrapping policy, people will always be in the loop. That's why people are angry. The government is making up facts. Look, first, what did Nitin Gadkari? He challenged me. He said, get 1 vehicle. I got 6. He threw me in Tanzak police station where Tughlaki Parman. But fact is, Hardeep Puri ji is gone on record and saying the gasket will have to be changed in 30,000 kilometers instead of 50,000 kilometers. Is that not a concern? Whose permission did they take? Nitin Gadkari ji has gone on record and saying the washers will be changed. Why did you have to reduce the life of our cars by 40% or bikes by 40%? And the most important thing, and you will agree with me, a vehicle is the second most expensive thing an Indian buys, two-wheeler or a car. Now, when you buy a vehicle, there is a contract that is understood because you pay your taxes 15 years in advance. So if you are today reducing the vehicle, the mileage, especially for two-wheelers, mileage is the first thing people see in two-wheelers. Then by that logic, why did you make a commitment that you will get this sort of mileage on an ARAI certified document on the vehicle? So you're breaking the commitment to the people of India. Did you take my consent by reducing my mileage? Coming up with some vague idea of saving foreign reserves, which they don't save. They're making that up also as a lie. That's the problem with the government.
Okay, coming to then that point, Tehseen, on foreign reserves and just our energy independence, you have strongly emphasized that ethanol procurements actually cost more. They exceed the base petrol prices, which makes it look very counterintuitive for lowering fuel expenditures, which is the government's argument. But how do you then respond to economists who are arguing that, listen, this premium actually helps build the domestic biofuel self-reliance in the long run? How do we balance the short-term losses with the long-term gain?
First of all, economists can argue both sides of the fence. They are just like lawyers. They're brilliant. They can argue each side of the fence. But that's not my argument. Great for them. What I'm trying to say is we are not against ethanol 20. All I'm saying is my vehicle requires ethanol 10, give ethanol 10. Now you want to build this great biofuel economy for India, all for it. The ethanol that is saved when you give ethanol 10, the excess ethanol that's left, give it to industries. You are importing ethanol from US for industries. Industrial ethanol. Industrial ethanol is the same as the ethanol that's here, except it's got some extra toxicity or it's got some extra chemicals in it. So you give it here to the industry, so you save your foreign reserves. Do you know, I'll give you another example. Right now, I want the viewers of NewsX to check something. Sugar prices have skyrocketed. Right now, the government has stopped export of sugar. How is this helping the foreign reserves? Sugar that you would export and get dollars, you've stopped the export. The money is not going to the farmers because it's going to the sugar mills. They've already procured it. And who's paying more for the sugar? You as a consumer. This ethanol policy is mismatched. Nobody's against the policy. See, it's not an either or. We are saying bring it in slowly, and till it comes in, you give us E10. When the vehicles phase out, you bring in ethanol 20. Why is there a problem? There is no problem. Who's saying that we are against ethanol 20? We are saying just give ethanol 10 and in ethanol 0, which is reduce the calculation, because these are my parliamentary answers. You know, India procures petrol with all refining, export, crude import, refining, transportation, dealer commission, everything. Petrol costs the government currently at current rates between 52 to 55 rupees a litre. 60 rupees a litre. 60 rupees, you add 30% tax, 78 rupees. 5 rupees for contingency, 83. Another 7 rupees in the future, Strait of Hormuz shuts down something, 90 rupees. Give pure petrol at 90 rupees now. Why are you giving it at 165 to 170 rupees? Nations that import petrol from us give their citizens pure petrol at much cheaper price. What sort of loot is this?
Okay, Tehseen, then I also want to understand from you, you have decided to launch an Ethanol 2.0 campaign. You want to take this fight directly to the Supreme Court. What is it that you're hoping will happen in the courts?
No, it's not just Supreme Court. We'll take it to all three S. Sansad, Sadak and Supreme Court. All three S is important. So Supreme Court, we are challenging certain flaws, the right to my fuel. I paid my taxes in advance. I'll explain that part and the right to my fuel. Sansad, we are already using the parliament to get answers, which is exposing the government. And Sadak, on 31st March, we're doing the biggest protest this country has seen. It'll be a new record. We're doing the Gadi March. We're starting from India Gate right up to Parliament House. Meri Gadi, Mera Adhikar. I have paid you for the fuel. I paid you for my vehicle in advance. You have to give me the fuel. You cannot break the contract with me. See, I'll just explain this to you in short. Please understand, if you have any economists after me, you must ask them. Pays taxes on it. So you pay your tax. Then with the tax paid money, you buy your vehicle. Then on the vehicle, you are getting paid tax on the tax paid vehicle 15 years in advance. Then on the tax paid money on which you bought a tax paid vehicle, you go to fill petrol. Again, there are taxes on it. But let me tell you one more funny thing. Ethanol is charged 5% GST because ethanol doesn't come under, because ethanol is blended with petrol and petrol doesn't come under GST. So that's passed on to you. On the 5% GST that you pay, you again charge tax on it. So this government charges you a tax on a tax on a tax on a tax. Like, can you relax and stop taxing us so much and give us decent infrastructure and low prices? What part of my demand is illogical or irrational? I'm not asking you to shut E20. I am saying if Nitin Gadkari ji wants to be Einstein and make E200 and flying buses, best of luck to him. Don't experiment on my vehicles. What part of it is illogical? And put documents in public domain.
Okay, Tehseen, before I let you go, since you've brought up Nitin Gadkari once again, you have explicitly targeted Nitin Gadkari and you've framed this policy around vested interests. You've said he's framed it around vested interests. But how do we keep the focus of the public strictly on the technical realities like mileage drops or engine wear and all the other points that you're raising rather than on political personalities, given what has just happened in the past few days, wherein we have seen a movement against a specific political entity, and a lot of people, critics of that movement, feel that not much will come out of that particular resignation?
Again, it's not individual centric. The policy should change. The policy is flawed. I am not against ethanol 20. Please keep bringing ethanol. In fact, the 2 point which is through and save our water resources. I am not against any of that. My Nitin Gadkari ji is the following. Nitin Gadkari ji is not a member of this country. Yet, as a union minister, he went on record claiming that petrol will be given at 15 rupees a litre. He's gone on record saying it. Once ethanol comes in. Why did he say it? He's gone on record saying that the import of petrol will reduce. Why would he say all of this when he's not the petroleum minister? He's made these commitments. You can't treat us like fools. His kids have an ethanol distillery. You can't get away from conflict of interest. It is wrong. And as much as he threatens journalists, as much as he bullies people, it is unacceptable to be bullied by him. I am never in my life going to be bullied by anybody. I respectfully would like to submit to him and ask him, why was he making all these statements? He isn't some person off the street or some small time political activist that he can get away by making those statements. He made those statements in capacity as a union minister driving the policy, though he wasn't. Perceptually, he was. It is one, conflict of interest, and two, he lied to us. How can you allow him to get away with lies? And then to turn around and say, I will threaten you with defamation cases. Why are you bullying journalists? Bully me. I'm standing in front of you. It is wrong what he's doing, and it is unacceptable. This is a democracy. He's answerable to us, we the people.
Okay, all right. Tehseen, thank you so much for those answers, some of that clarification from your end as well. Best of luck to you for your march on the 31st. Let's see where that goes. Dr. Sharad Kohli joins us on the broadcast. On that note, I also have with me Advocate Swati Jindal Garg. Dr. Kohli, you've just heard Tehseen, like I said, one of the most vocal critics of the E20 policy. What is your position on the same, sir, given that this movement is now picking up steam like the Cockroach Janata Party on social media as well? Clearly, people are frustrated with this policy.
Good evening, Devika, to you and the viewers. I think, yes, you're rightly said, this is another movement which is gradually picking up the moss on social media. And this is one movement. Of course, the previous movement was related to students and their interests. This is one movement which probably impacts all the vehicle owners in the country and their family members, because if you take out a chunk of your home budget and spend on petrol and diesel, even if all of you don't ride that car or the bike, it does impact how you spend your household money, which you earn after a lot of hard work. That's one. Second, for me, the mathematics, E20 or E10 vehicles, new vehicles, old vehicles, this is all a matter of technical investigation. There have been news of vehicles breaking down, which have been confronted by the Honorable Transport Minister. He's threatened them with defamation and so and so. Now, all vehicles haven't broken down. There have been cases of vehicles breaking down, and vehicles can break down for various reasons also. There could be a manufacturing defect, there could be wear and tear, there could be other things. But I'm not getting into that. My contention is that fuel consumption per kilometer has definitely dropped, and this has been admitted by the honorable petroleum minister as well, if I'm absolutely correct. Now, the quantum of a claim that he has made, yet you will lose a little bit of consumption on that. I think that claim needs to be verified, because when he went on record to another TV channel, he said, this is something you cannot measure yourself. Now, every person who drives a car can measure how much my car is actually consuming in terms of fuel. In Delhi jargon, you call it what is the average of the car, but technically it's the mileage of the car per kilometer. Now, my contention is that if this has gone down, let's say even if you lose 20% of the fuel consumption because of this E20, then effectively I am buying petrol or diesel at a more expensive price. If it is 100 rupees, 102 rupees in Delhi, then basically it becomes 120 rupees for me because I am consuming more petrol. So this is another way of imposing a price hike, by making me fill up my tank more often than what I was doing earlier. So you basically increase the price by not increasing the price, but making the consumption fall, because there is, as some people say, sugarcane juice being mixed into petrol and diesel. So petrol, sorry. So my here, and what has happened in Delhi, I was talking to somebody who went to buy a car. People are not buying petrol cars now. They say petrol cars are becoming more expensive, and the trend was completely the reverse earlier, because in Delhi NCR, for example, Devika, you were not allowed to keep a diesel car for more than 10 years. Petrol car could run for 15 years as per the new the Green Tribunal and Supreme Court ruling. So people had stopped buying diesel car because they said, we'll finish the car in 10 years, then it's of no use, there's no resale value, you have to send the car out by taking an NOC from Delhi or whatever, or you scrap it. And now suddenly, after that E20 happened, the trend has reversed. People are now going after diesel cars because they feel that petrol car is going to be a pain for them and it's going to be very, very expensive to keep. So I think this needs, I have spoken on your channel earlier also, this needs a more transparency. This needs a comprehensive technical report in public domain. To that extent, I agree with what Tehseen was saying. And then on the basis of that technical reports, because effectively I asked the petrol station and I went to a company-owned outlet, Devika, and I said, I don't want ethanol petrol. So you know what he went on to say? Then you buy this 170 rupees a liter, which is pure petrol. So and you know what the guy told me? He said, this is the same petrol which was available. This is not premium petrol, but this is the same petrol which was available before E20 at a normal price. So effectively 170 rupees is per liter is the cost of petrol, which is not mixed with ethanol, which I was buying earlier at usual price of 100 rupees or so. So I think this is where the pain is coming from. So I think government need to, not be in a denial mode. Government cannot be in a threatening mode. People are not fond of protesting. Please, I think someone has to understand that. Only if they suffer on their wallets, only if they suffer on their home budgets, only if they suffer on the hard-earned money from which they have bought their car or bike, then only they will complain. Who's got the time, apart from a few, who are Andolanjis, they are always in a mode of protest. Let's leave them out. But if rest of the people are joining this particular voice, I think there has to be, you cannot have smoke when there is no fire. So I think a very clear policy, I don't want to comment on the vested interest and this and that, the defamation threats and so and so, but something is definitely there, because each one of you, including you and me, and Swati, who's sitting here, we all use cars. So this is something, which is all we need to do is to just look at the car, look at the fuel meter, and we will know what our car is doing. And then breakdown or no breakdown, but the wear and tear on the car over a period of time would definitely be there, because if the car is not accepting that kind of fuel, some damage would be done, whether it is the bushes or you have to change the piston rings or you have to change the pumps or whatever be it. So I think this needs little more transparency. I feel that there is lack of transparency. If government brings in transparency, things would be better. Otherwise, this is one kind of movement, Devika, E20 Janata Party, EGP, or whatever you want to call it. I think this will gather moss because this is not just youngsters. This, in fact, crores and crores of people who are using, and Delhi, for example, has got the maximum number of vehicles in the country as a city. So I think more and more people will join. Everyone who's suffering on the mileage, everyone who's suffering on the vehicle is going to join. So people, and I'm telling you, people are not buying petrol vehicles today. Companies have said that petrol vehicle sales have gone down. You cannot expect everybody to be buying a new vehicle which is E20 compliant and replace your vehicle. That's physically not possible for everyone. We are not a very rich country, Devika.
Yes, absolutely. Sharad, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with that perspective. Let me quickly bring in Swati Jindal Garg into the conversation as well. Swati, your take on this entire new controversy that's erupting online?
I think India has become the hub for one controversy after the other. Just as cockroaches were pacified with one resignation, we have another party taking birth. And yes, it may not be an official political party. It is a movement on the social media as of now. But we all know that in this era, how far a social media movement can take us. Dr. Kohli has very rightly said that we are not talking about who's right, who's wrong, who's threatening with defamation, this and that. At the end of the day, I would feel that in today's transparent world, what we all want is some transparency. The government at this stage cannot get away with their promises of a better world without delivering that better world. So for a long, long time, we have been told that once GST, CGST comes, the income tax would be taken back. We were told that once this E20 fuel comes, the prices would go down because, well, India is manufacturing enough of sugar and we will be, for all intents and purposes, creating petrol for ourselves by mixing it with ethanol. But it is now that certain things like, like the other speaker before, Dr. Kohli also said that it is not like your car will break down the moment you introduce it to E20. The results and the downfall would be seen over a period of time. So now with the passage of enough number of months or years of using that E20 petrol, people are now, they are witnessing the downfall in the performance of their vehicle. So they want some answers. Now, the only reason that makes me really uncomfortable is that why are these answers not being given? Why is the policy in itself not clear? Why is it not showing as to what harm it can bring to the car in itself? Why all this whitewash? Why do we need it? See, if you remember, initially there was a big hoopla about how we should introduce a cashless society, how we should bring about monetary digitization. But when you forced it on people, of course, they fought back. They were not ready. But with the onset of COVID, we now see even the street side vendors, even they have those barcodes. See, when you introduce something that is good for the people, you will not have to sell it. People will travel for hundreds of kilometers to buy something that is good for them. You will not have to push it on them. They will seek it. So why is it now that people are pushing it back? There has to be something wrong because you can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. And that time has now come when people are actually looking for answers. And this is not, this is not a set of uneducated, illiterate people that we have today. Our youth are very informed. Yes, we do blame them for walking around with their mobiles 24/7, but it is this habit that is keeping them updated on a day-to-day, minute to minute, second to second basis. So they know what they are asking for. They have all the data at their fingertips. You can't take it away from them.
Yes.
What they are demanding today is a fair answer. And if you don't have a fair answer, then you are in trouble for sure.
All right. On that note, I thank